Good morning, Rabbi Saya. So the other day, said over a Maisa where a woman was saved by her shaitel. So just yesterday in Brooklyn, a woman is lucky to be alive after being shot in the head, thanks to a wig that seems to have absorbed the blow of the projectiles. Police say the incident happened at about 7:20 Saturday in Williamsburg. She's standing at corner Ross Street. A back seat passenger lowered their window. Display would appear to be a weapon of some kind. She's struck the Orthodox Jewish woman in her wig. It's worn for religious reasons. Now, then afterwards, it just says it wasn't maybe a real bullet. Maybe it was more of like something else. But Imam saved her life. 17% hate crimes up this year. Yaakov Lock. It was great coming to the shir last week. I had to wake up 5:30 to get there. Worthwhile. I highly recommend to anyone visiting Eretz Yisrael, to the guys at MDY or Ramat Bet Shemesh, consider yourselves lucky that you have this daily opportunity and stop complaining about the emails. I was super impressed with everyone, camaraderie and friendliness. I saw kids of all ages, Litvaks, Hasidim, Srugis, and Avi Gargir, all getting together to learn a Black Gemara. It was great. Another thing I noticed, that while on YouTube, I play at 1.5 speed. In person, there's no need. The shir is so invigorating, I want to latch onto every word. I was no rush to finish. As a matter of fact, the 45 minutes ran much too quickly. As far as the MDY bike clothes, as you can see, we have a dummy in the store wearing an MDY mountain bike. Even the non-Jews who come in, like the design so much, they buy it. You have a bunch of people riding around the trails here with a geschmack to do the daf on their back, and they don't even know what it means. Both mountain bike and road bike are available on Amazon. The search MDY bike jerseys. As far as the bottles, will be available in a few more days. Meantime, send me your address. I'll send you some more. Yaakov Lock. Here's the dummy with the shirt. Wow, Team MDY. My name is Ezra Mishkov from Queens, New York. I started learning with Rebelli Yevamis. It has really transformed my Daf Yomi limud. It's amazing to hear how much time and effort various people put in behind the scenes to help produce such a high quality product. It's pushed me to want to help in any way possible to sustain and continue such an important cause. Though limited compared to others, I'd like to offer to help in any area that can use more manpower to give back in any way possible. We get these emails all the time, then we throw them out. And then when we need help, we forget who they are. Ezra Mishkov from Queens, we're coming after you. Oh, God Carlos. Let me share a glimpse into my schedule with our new foster baby. He has a foster baby. Twice a month, we travel to Kiryat Arba so that his family can be with him for a specific amount of time. During this time, I managed to daven Shachris and Marsa Machpelah, which is itself an amazing thing, davening so close to the office. Not only that, but I announced to the MDY family that I'm going there and that they should share names with me so I can daven for them. I've been thinking about why I feel the need to publicize what I'm doing. It's a chesed for which I believe I picked up from being connected to MDY. As chesed is one of the core values of MDY, as we've seen time after time, especially now with the extra dapim learned for Avi. I'm coining a new phrase in MDY. Not only do we learn the daf, we live by chesed, gereres, chesed, kol tov. God Carlos.
Good morning, Rabbi Sai from Hebron.
Okay. Oh. When I left my house this morning, we had 235 people that signed up to learn 4,168 dapim of Gemara. So I got to read some names. We're a little late, but we'll read some. By the way, if your name is missing, I really apologize. Again, somebody messed around, and it's not in the same order as yesterday. I might be saying the same names twice. So as far as I know, these are the new ones. We have some very interesting ones here. Harold Candler, Yosef Kitai, Yoel Bergman, as we had yesterday, Richard Praise, Gavriel E., Casriel Silver, Itzik Horn, Gershon Dubin, 27 daf, Glenn Bond, Moshe Tzvi Dauber we had yesterday, Benji Pister, Doron Kornbluth, Shkoyach, D. Posner, Chesky Rosenberg, Danny Kaladi, 30 daf, Danny Kaladi, wow. Yisrael Bartlett, 27 daf, Yaakov Aaron Price, 15 daf, Yanky Berman, 20 daf, Barry Schleifer. Barry Schleifer. We know who that is, right? Ilan Davidovich. Mati Levi, 31 daf. Mati Stengi. That's you? Where is he? That's you? Shkoyach. Mati. Yoni Mirza. I'm not putting on my glasses today. So if I read your name off. Yosef Stam. Yisachar Berish. What did you get? Nobody watched yesterday's share because of that thumbnail. Yisachar Berish Rothbaum. 15 daf. Yochanan Itzkowitz. Now listen to this, Rabbi Isai. MDY Koilel stepped it up big time. Yesterday I mentioned Eliyakim Aronoff, 101 daf. And my Chavrusa, you did your Kramer, 150 daf. Check this out. That was yesterday. Refuah Shlaima, 70 daf. Avi Berg, not from the Koilel, but he's a very good Geshmaka meat maker. 25 daf. Shlomi Gewurzman and Ephraim Gewurzman. Moshe Bresky from the Koilel, 30 daf. Avram Walpe, listen to this, 135 daf. Now this one is amazing. What? Yeah, Avram Walpe. This is the Koilel, MDY Koilel. This one was amazing to me. Eliyahu Jacobs, 40 daf. Why is it amazing? Because they're doing Chazar, they're doing this whole thing, they're taking a big test now. Sukkot, they have like 1,200 daf test. So doing Chazar, so they said, okay, I'm going to give 100 towards Avi. Eliyahu said, no, I need to do 40 new ones. So in addition to all the Chazars that he's doing, he said, his Rav said, you have to do something special, so he's doing 40 daf special for him. Avrami Eisenberg, also from the Koilel, 25 daf. Zevi Schuper, 10 daf. Harry Shalom, Kapara Alecha, 20 daf. Nitzan Hezroni, 5. David Bedil, 10. Ofishel Gross, 18. Shmuli Bachon, 36. Philip, Haftorah guy. And we keep on going. There's 10 more. CY, Zorch Spiro, Ari Katz, Eli Katz, Refuah Groskov, 19. Tzvi Lewin, Stephen Perlich, I can't read. Ar Meislik, Shoal Jaspin, Eliezer Kessler, Rax Box, Bechor Badalov, Ken Dietz, Yona Durbek, 20. Abe Skorsky, Yoni Nagler. Yoni, it's not about the Yoni, it's about the Yomi. That's what he said. Ari Steg, he's a 10-year-old kid. 1 daf. Unbelievable. 1 daf is amazing. Yidel Katz, Ofishel Klein, Mickey Cooper, Yitzi Grossberg. Moshe Apter. Remember Moshe Apter? From Montreal. He's still on this year. Unbelievable. Huh? He had a goat. He had a rabbit. How old is he today? 15? Yitz Burger. That's what we have for today. If I missed your name, I apologize. By the way, I have the sefer with me for a long time. I had it under here. Let me just tell you what page it is that I quoted from. Page Chofei. Omnom yesh matzovim charim shalachatz. What do you want? How many daf? 1 daf for you. No, how many daf? Come on, you can do 2. What's your name? Chaim Shalom what? Leibowitz. He sits next to me every day and I don't know his name. Shem Yirachim. Very good. 1 daf for Chaim Shalom. How many? You the tzvi. How many? 4? 4 times the amount of you. You should be embarrassing yourself. Sometimes there's very high pressure in the house. They have to go to sleep, the kids. There's a few kids. They all scream. And the mother's very tired. She gives a few patch. This is Rav Shlomo Wolbe. I'm just quoting here. Ezra Rishonah, it's first aid. And then the bell zev. To make it a shita, zugi shama zikad. That's a terrible thing to make it a shita. Once in a while, a few patch givaldi. Just don't quote him. I had to show this. Somebody gave me a beautiful Ferragamo tie. Who was it? Hudi Newman. It's not an iPad or a Porsche. Just a thank you. Hudi Newman. Shkoya. And you gave me a beautiful. You want to read your letter? You should read your letter. Unbelievable. You gave me a letter with a Castel bottle of wine. Beautiful. Benny. Shkoyach Benny. I don't know why, but I'll take it. Shkoyach. The tie? Yeah. Here, take out the tie. Let's go. Let's learn some Torah. Mordechai Kamyansky, 12-year-old, 2 daf. We got to remember, I have to write it down. Shkoyach, unbelievable. Says the Gemara, where are we holding? Oh, Omalei Ravina L'Rava, Omalei Ravada Barahava Mishmach. Ravada said in your name. We're in the middle of the sugya. A few more lines. We're going to be doing to a new sugya. Oh, the sponsors. Hold on a second. So the Kailal is sponsored for the success of our family that we merit to always crown Hashem. The Masechta is sponsored by Baruch ben Moshe, Aaron, Elazar ben Shalom, and for that hatzlacha for my children. The Masechta, Jeff Rosner, zchus my son Yosef, Simcha, Chaim, Ben Tzar, Chana, Refuah Shlaima. The rest of the Masechta, Ofishel Mitzva Motivators, Refuah, Avraham Mנשה, Ben, Chana, Brokha, Refuah Shlaima. The sponsor of the month, one of them, Eli Zchariah ben Moshe. Second, the MDY Family, Eli Stefansky, Tobia, Yaakov ben Yitzchak, Ezra Pollak. Third, by the Lock and Lebovic families, Lakewood NJ, because Torah is the best gula. Fourth, Refuah Shlaima, Yecheskel ben Leah. We have 8 sponsors today. Yishkoyach. Money goes to bring more Torah to this world. Nobody gets salaries and stuff like that. It doesn't go into my pocket. Marvin and Linda Diamond. Yahrzeit from mother, Minnie, Tolchin, Mindlebai. There are a few people that get a little money because they work, they do stuff, but just a few. In honor of my 6-month wedding anniversary to my bashert. In honor of my 6th-month wedding anniversary to my bashert. Beautiful. Yanky Baum. Zchus, Refuah Shlaima, Avraham Mנשה ben Chana Bracha. And zchus, my son, bar mitzvah today. His son's bar mitzvah today. Lili Nishmat. Daniel ben Miriam Pinchasov. Elvis. That's not how he spells his name. Exenberg, no? It says Skensberg. Elvis, where is he? He's not here today. Oh, here he is. Skensberg. Elvis Skensberg. All the way. He's the only Litvak I know. He was born in Lita. You know his story. Crazy story. We spoke about it once. In honor of Joe Nemetsky and Ben Goldman on joining MDY, as well as all the guys in Manchester. Shulam Berkovitz, my birthday. And hatzlacha b'limud Torah panasa Refuah Shlaima. A Refuah Shlaima for a Bacher Yeshua Heschel ben Miriam Rachel. Yosef Rabinowitz, l'zchus my chavrus and family for a great new year, even if it works retroactively. Lili Nishmas, Fredel Shalamis, Basar of Chaim Tzvi. Now we're left with a little time to learn Gemara. Give Valdik. Omalei Ravina L'Rava. Omalei Lon Rav Adar Bar Hava Mishmach. They said in your name. Bagra Eina Tzricha Limchais. If the girl, she became 12 and a half, she doesn't have to protest, and she still gets her 10% dowry, her nedunya. Nises, what if she got married before she became a begeres? She was a nara. Again, she still deserves it. However, bagra v'nises, if she got married after she became a begeres after 12 and a half, if she doesn't protest, then we say shtikikai does, she loses her nedunya. Says Gemara, me Omar Rava Hachi, the Rava say that, but Esvei Rava Rav Nachman. Yesterday we had it. I told you to remember it, so hopefully you remember from yesterday. Rava asked Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman paskined like Rebbe that a nara has a nedunya. A nara gets her 10%. And Rava asked a question from our Mishnah that's mashma from the Mishnah that only a ktana gets. So what did Rav Nachman answer? Rav Nachman said, it makes an afkemina if you made a macha or didn't make a macha. If you make a protest and you're a nara, you get. No, and Rava didn't say anything back. He said, okay, I get it, Rebbe. Rav Nachman was his Rebbe. He said, okay, I agree. In other words, by a nara, you have to protest. How come over here you're saying you don't have to protest? Like Kasha. Food does a wonderful thing. A lot of people when they go on, oh, look who's here today. How you doing? You're back. So, you go on a business, you want to do a deal, you take the guy out, you take your client to dinner, and things have, you feed him. Over here, if her brothers feed her, she'll be less resistant. She won't be so uptight about her nedunya. She'll be moichel in nedunya. Nafkimina whether or not the mefarnes her. Okay, she's embarrassed. She'll be embarrassed. Like they're feeding her on a daily basis. She's going to be embarrassed to sue them for the little dowry. Omer Avuna, Omer Rebbe. The name of Rebbe. Parnasa. What does Parnasa mean? Nedunya, Eina, Kitnai Ksuba. Dowry is not like Mizainas. Kitnai Ksuba means Mizainas. So we had those two things yesterday. Welcome back, Jonathan. Mazel Tov on behalf of the whole Chevra. Mazel Tov. We wish we were all there. Okay, so we have the Nedunya and we have Mizainas. Just to sustain her, feed her, and the dowry. So he says they're different. So we're going to go through three things until we find where is the difference between the two things. What does it mean? If the Yisayimim, her brothers, sold off the real estate, so when it comes to the Nedunya, it comes to the dowry, she could go and go over to whoever bought the real estate, say, listen, sorry to inform you, but that deal that you made with my brother was not a good deal. It's mine. I deserve it. And she could take it. Utnai ksuva. However, for mezainas, laita for mishabdi. There's no, you can't take from real estate. You see every day. It's you see it mamish like this is what the bezin does. You only take from the lekuchas, you only take for the dowry and not from mezainas. Okay, so I have another nafkamina. When it comes to the dowry, to the nedunya, gavi nami mitaltale. She could go collect from movable objects from mitaltale. With like suva, however, from mezainas, only from real estate. Not sold real estate, but the Yisayim's real estate, right? Real estate that's still there. Says the Gemara, maybe that's the nafkamina between the two. Says the Gemara, the Rebbe, but no, according to Rebbe, you're saying in the name of Rebbe. Omer Avuna, Omer Rebbe. Rebbe says, no, both. Whether it's the Nedunya, whether it's Mezainas, you collect from metalton, you collect from karka. In other words, real estate and not real estate. You take out of the father's assets that he left over to the boys. You take out money from there to feed the girls and for their dowry. The Rebbe says it. So what's an afkimina? So where's the difference between a nedunya and mezainas? Look at the sanya. A person says before he dies, he says, I don't want to feed my daughters. Let them fend for themselves. You don't listen to them. But if he says that they shouldn't get a dowry, for that we listen to him. Why? So that's an afkimina. If a person on his deathbed says, don't feed my daughters, you don't listen. But if he says, don't give them nedunya, you listen. Fine. New sugya, brand new sugya. By the way, I don't know if I pointed it out, and this is what Carlos was saying. God is that it's the Torah and the Chesed. And where do you find Torah and Chesed? Torah and Chesed. If you go and you teach somebody Torah, that's Torah and Chesed. If you take Dapim Gemara for Avi, that's Torah and Chesed. You're learning for yourself. You get a lot of zchusim, but you're doing Chesed. You're uplifting a person sitting in the hospital, rounds of chemo now, and all that stuff, and all the thoughts that go through his mind. And people are mechazik. It's unbelievable. It's Chesed and Torah at the same time. Says the Gemara, Maisa, Samach Tes Amud Aleph. Interesting thing that happened there. Now, Rebbe, we know, is the author of the Mishnah, of Mishnayos. He wrote the Shisha Sidra Mishnah. Rav was one generation later, in his time, but younger. So Rav is considered the first Amoira, and the last Tana. So he's both. He straddles the Tanaim and the Amoraim. Rabbi Yochanan was in Eretz Yisrael the same exact time as Rav, but he's slightly younger than Rav, so he's considered almost a complete Amoira. He's not a Tana. So Gemara tells us, Talalei Rav LeRebbe Ben Echite. He wrote Rebbe a letter. How you doing, Rebbe, and everything. And between the lines, he realized there's a little room on the parchment. Let me write in some sort of question in halacha. Ha'achim sheshibdu ma'u. If the brothers who inherited real estate, They went ahead and they sold the real estate without giving their sister the proper 10% or whatever you're supposed to give the sister nedunya. What's the halacha? Rabbi was sitting there. Omar lei machroi mishkanoi. What exactly did Rav ask you? I'm not certain because I don't see it in the question. Did they actually sell the real estate, or they gave it as a mashkin towards somebody borrowed money? They borrowed money and they gave it as a mashkin, as a collateral, but it wasn't really sold. Now selling obviously is a lot worse than a mashkin. Mashkin is still theirs, but it's the guy could one day take it. Omerlei, ma'naf gemina. What's the difference whether they sold it or they gave mashkin? You could take it back from whoever bought it or whoever took the mashkin. You don't take it out to feed the girls. Says the Gemara, Now what was Rav thinking? Rav wrote the letter. Why didn't he write specifically what his question was? You need Rav Chia to ask and Rebbe to answer. One word. Instead of using that one word, he uses another word. He uses shibdu. Okay, so it's almost a freebie. I found it fascinating that because Rav didn't write one word, he could have wrote machru. So the Gemara goes through 71 words that are printed on millions of Gemaras for Dairas to understand why he didn't write that one word. But then I found that some cipher says, so why didn't he write the one word? Because he didn't have room. He was on a small letter and it says Beinechita. He was writing between lines. He literally didn't have room. So he had to make a cheshbon. I could write 5 words here. Should I use the word machru, mashkin, or shibdu? If I do shibdu, Rebbe will chab what I'm talking about and finished. Okay. He should have wrote the question, if the brother sold off the real estate, could the girl go and collect back the real estate? And he was asking about a mashkin, just mishkina. Says Gemara, Rav Tarvai, he asked both questions in one word. Visavar. And here's a very simple calculation that he made. If I'll just say the word machru, you see machru, what's the difference? Machru means somebody else has full ownership on the real estate. So if I could grab it back from that person, so certainly I could grab back a half a sale, which is only a collateral, it's not really given. On the other hand, if I only ask a weaker question, I wouldn't know a stronger question. So they're very different. That's all he's saying here in many, many words. Says the Gemara, if he answers yes, you could actually take it out of the buyer, certainly a weaker kind of giving, like a collateral. And if you would say, you can't take it out, but I still don't know, maybe you can't take it out because it's completely sold, but you could take it away from a guy that only has collateral. And if I say the word mashkin, if he says you can't, certainly the stronger one that I completely give it. But if he tells me you could take it back because it's only collateral, I wouldn't know. If he saw a lot of words to say a very simple idea. Bottom line is, I'll tell him one word, the mashma hachi or mashma hachi. Fine. Zog the Gemara. Rabbi Yochanan argues on Rebbe. So again, Rebbe is the last Tana. Rabbi Yochanan, not so much a Tana. He saw Rebbe, but he's not a Tana anymore. Rabbi Yochanan, he argues, Echad zeh ve'echad zeh ein moitziin. So, it doesn't matter what the case is. You don't take out of somebody that bought the real estate. Iboilu. Did he not ever hear Rebbe, the Tana, say what he said? If he or perhaps he did hear it, or if he did hear it, he would have accepted it. Is he straight out arguing? It's hard to say that he's arguing, which indeed he is maybe, but it's better for us to say that he didn't know about it. He wouldn't argue on Rebbe. Tashma, I think it's unbelievable. There's a cutoff. Yes, you're almost there. You saw Rebbe. You're almost in that generation, but you're not him. There's a new generation. It's called Amoraim. You're part of Amoraim. Amoraim cannot argue with Tanaim. Finished. At some point, there has to be a cutoff. Toshma, a person dies, he left over 2 daughters and a son. This is a not fair story. The older daughter gets married and she gets 10% of all her father's assets. And then, the second daughter didn't have a chance to get her 10%. And the son, well, obviously the father died, right? Father dies, so the son gives 10% to one of his sisters, because she's the older one, she got married, or whatever, she got married first. Then, before the second one has a chance to get her 10%, what happens? The brother dies. So who inherits everything? The 2 daughters. But now they should, because it's an inheritance, it's a Yerusha, they should split it right down the middle. Or no. The second girl says, well, I never got my 10%. Now that I'm getting married, I want my 10%. Now, why didn't she collect? I had a little bit of an argument with my chavrusa yesterday. Again, the whole koil got in on it. They all proved me wrong. I thought it meant that she didn't. The reason why she wasn't goiva is because she didn't get married. Had she gotten married, I thought it would have gone into effect. Even though she didn't take it, the minute she gets married, the brother owes it to her. And then even though the brother dies, he still owes it to her. So the pshat is that she didn't get married. No, everybody said no. It means she literally didn't go and take the money. She got married. They proved to me from the Taisus Sarid over here, it's mashma like that. But then today, I found a Rashi in Gittin. Rashi in Gittin says, because she didn't get married. Had she gotten married, Rashi in Gittin, and the Art Scroll brings it down. What? It's oter. No, but if you look in Taisus Sarid, he explains it as, marriage is just the time that you get paid up. And we'll see. The svara that if she has enough money, she doesn't need the 10%. The whole 10% is that she could survive. Here she has plenty of Yerusha. Okay. We couldn't find somebody that talks about it first. We looked in the Shulchan Aruch, he doesn't talk about it. Okay, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Shnia Vitra. She gave it up. The second girl doesn't get her 10%. It doesn't sound fair, but that's how it is, he says. The first one was alive, the brother was alive when she got married, so she gets the 10%. The second sister doesn't get 10%. Or Reb Chanina tells him, no, even in a worst case, you're wrong. The what? Who says this? Rebbe. We take out, if the brothers sell real estate, we remove it from the buyer and we give it to the daughter for this 10% dowry, the parnasa, the nedunya. But we don't remove real estate just to feed them. He's asking a question. We know the halacha is moitzim leparnasa, and who says that? Rebbe. How could you say that if the daughter is there, everybody's there, but the brother died, she doesn't get? You remove real estate from people that bought it, but you're not going to give her 10% from her brother. V'misa, and if it's true that Rabbi Yochanan never knew that Rebbe said such a thing, Ne'melei man omra. He took it. He took it like a champ, and he says, "I'm arguing this." But he should have said, "Whoa, what do you mean moitzim leparnasa? What do you mean that if the brothers sell off real estate, you go and you collect real estate?" I disagree with that. He was quiet. You know why he's quiet? Because he knew that Rebbe says it. But he argues on Rebbe. But if he didn't know Rebbe said it, and he said halacha that's opposite of that, he should have argued right away. So what are you talking about? There's no such thing. Says the Gemara, no, maybe he never heard it, and when he heard it, he agreed 100%. Nevertheless, in this case where there's 2 sisters and a brother, and one sister got 10%, the other sister didn't get 10%, he says it's a completely different case. Not like you thought that's the same case. Because the girl has so much money now, she came into all this inheritance, she doesn't need the 10%. 10% is only when a girl doesn't have what to live off. Maybe Yerusha could be nothing also. It's a dinner across the board. Why is it 10%? It's not in the Torah. I'm saying, she's not getting it because she has a Yerusha. But who says the Yerusha is a large Yerusha? Now she has to cover herself. Maybe she doesn't. Maybe she's getting her 10%. Maybe the Yerusha is really low. Maybe there's nothing in the Yerusha. Oh, maybe there's nothing in the Yerusha. Okay. Fine. In the case that this is enough. Let's say there's a case. If not, you're right. What? And if there's not, first of all, it's not enough, then there's not enough for 10%. But it's something more. That's the problem. Like you said, there's at least 10%. 10% is less than what she's getting. Yeah. Give me a case. What did the father die? He died with 100, so she gets 10%. And then you take the 90 and you split it down the middle, 45, 45. Now what do you want? You want to say that what? That she should get... get her 10. Why? She already gets 45. She already gets 50. Why does she get 10? Okay, whatever. Talk to the Gemara. This is all the Rabbanans, and maybe the Gemara touches a little bit about what you're saying. Here, this question right here. What if she fell into a lottery? She won the lottery. So she has enough money to support herself. So that means she shouldn't get anything? She shouldn't get a dowry? She shouldn't get her 10%? Says the Gemara, she has enough money to be supported. She shouldn't get 10%. I'm talking about making the money from her inheritance. The same source that you're taking the 10%, she's making more money through inheriting the rest of the nechasim. This 10%, says Ameimar, Bas Yureshes Have. She's considered, if you just look at you don't have to look at the chart, you can see in the Gemara, but there's a Yairish and there's a Balchayiv. When a person yarish in something, if the girl comes to her brother and says, I inherited here. I inherited 10%, you inherited 90%. What's enough? The Gemara is going to say, 2 halachas that we learn from this sugya. So we shouldn't just run through the sugya. We're learning halachas here. When it comes to Yerusha, a brother could say to this other brother, I want a piece of every single field that daddy owned. I have, memories of working on this farm, on this field. I want a piece of everything. A brother can't tell another brother, no, I'm going to give you one building and I'll take the other. I want a piece from each thing. You can't be misalikim. You can't say, I'm sorry, you can't say chadara. But also you can't even say, take cash. I'll take the building and I'll give you $1 million in cash. No, I want to have a building. So if the girl, the daughter, is considered a yairish versus a chayiv, so you can't push her off. She could take her 10% of every field that the father owns. She'll take 10% everywhere. She's going to make a hole in every building. Every building, she's going to take one apartment. It's terrible. Terrible news for the boys. And they can't pay her off in cash. They want to own everything straight out, so they can't tell her, listen, how much is it worth? $1 million, we'll give you 1.1 even. Here, just take cash. No, I want an apartment. But if it's a chayiv, the father owes it to her, not the father. The brothers owe her 10% because the father died. Then they can say, chayiv here, take cash and Shalom Yisrael, take in one place. No, comes out Meimar. Later on he regrets it. But in the beginning he says, no, she's considered a Yereshes. What about halacha number 1? Just pay her off in money. It makes no sense what you're saying. Yes. They can't chase her away with money. If they just want to give her one piece of real estate, one field, what, they can't do that? They can't. Rav Ashi Omar Bas Balas Chayiv Havia. She's entitled to the money because they owe it to her. Meimar also took it back. I was sitting there in front of Ameimar. There's a woman that came there in front of Ameimar. She wanted 10%. I read his mind. I saw what he was thinking. If they could have chased her away with money, just given her money, they would have done it. I heard the brother saying, if we had the cash, we would pay you off. And Ameimar didn't say anything. So since he was quiet, he should have said something. He should have told it. He's a Rav, and the Bali Dinim are in front of him. The son and the daughter are there screaming at each other. And he says, you know what? I wish I had some cash. I would have paid you off and gotten you out of here. Ameimar should have said, stop, guys. It's none of my business, but I overheard. There's no such thing as paying off cash. This is a Yerusha. You can't pay off cash. How come he didn't say anything? It's a raya that he took it back. Now, Taisus points out here, it's very interesting. Mikan Rogo Rabbeinu Tam, second Taisus, third Taisus. If one of the Bali Din would say something that's wrong, he would stand up and say, you're Meshaker. Sheker at Tadoiver, you're a liar. That's not the halacha. Because if you're not Moich, you don't say Sheker at Tadoiver. If let's say the Torah Rabbani says, they do tricks like that. You could. I've seen lawyers. You're allowed to lie. There's no. If you say this, then I'll put you in contempt of court. It's not true. You can't. So why are you threatening him like that? So you have to say no. The judge has to say, stop. What you're saying now is against the law. That's how the halacha is, right? In court, did they ever do tricks like that? Is it mutter?
Why? No.
Whatever. No, you see in the hallway. In the hallway, you're walking down the hallway, and the lawyer threatens the other client and says, "Listen, if you don't do this, I'm gonna." Da, da, da. And the judge overhears it. He has to say it's not true. You can't. You're not going to be able to sue him for that. Rabbi Natan says he used to be moich every time. Okay, says the Gemara. Okay, but now that you're saying that she's considered that they owe her money, not that she's not part of the inheritance. The Abba, where's it coming from? What's the source of the chayiv? Is it the father or the brothers? Here, new halachas also. If you collect money from a Yairish, you get the worst of the worst. You get the house in Iowa, and you have to swear because maybe you took money from him. He's a Yairish. So, but if she's a balas chayiv, she gets the medium. The medium real estate and shalai b'shvua without swearing. Zibur is b'shvua. However, she's a Yairish. You get the worst with the shvua. Mai tashma. The Ravina Agber lebrate the Ravashi. Here's the chart. Rabbi Isai. It's not so complicated. Ravashi's on top. I didn't want to depict him chas v'shalom, so I did silhouettes. Ravashi's on top, and he had 3 children. One was called Rav Sama. One is called Marbar Ravashi. In the center, I put his daughter. Okay, maybe a girl shouldn't go between 2 boys. That's another problem. But in the picture, it's okay. Even sisters, even siblings, it's also. I think that's what we learned.
She's behind.
It's a sakana, not us. She's behind. Okay. So Rav Sama, look what happens here. If you look at the chart, Rav Sama dies, and Rashi says Machlekes Rishonim, and Rashi says he died before Ravashi. Then Ravashi was nifter. So now that girl wants to take her 10%. So she's going to take 10%. From Marbar Ravashi, her brother, without a shvua, and she's going to take 10% or 5%. She's 5 and 5, right? There's 2 brothers. Each has to give 5%. She's going to take from the grandson with a shvua because the grandson is considered a Yairish. You see that a brother, Marbar Ravashi, is not considered an inheritor. He's a chayiv, right? Let's see if I got this right. Mimar Bereder Ravashi. Beidinis v'shalai b'shvua. She, the girl, the daughter of Ravashi, took her 5% from Marbar Ravashi, the son, without a shvua. How do you do without a shvua? But he's an inheritor because he's not. It's a chayiv. It's not an inheritance. It's a chayiv. Only the grandson who inherited through his father of Sama, he's considered a Yairish. Although Rishonim have a problem with that also, isn't he inheriting directly from Ravashi? So that's why other Rishonim say that Rav Sama died after. Okay. Zog the Gemara. Fine. And Mebrei, Rav Sama, from the grandson, Berei the Ravashi, Ziburish Bishvua, he's considered Yairish. Shalach Rav Nechem Mebrei the Rav Yosef, the Rav Rav Huna, Zutim and Arda, Ki Asya Yitzil Kamach, when this woman comes to you, Agbi Isun Chasim, Afilu Mitzta Rubla. This is the best I can do for Mitzta Rubla. By the way, I like this picture a lot because you came to me the other day. I showed the 2 stones grinding, and here is one of the best pictures I found ever of you see how it turns, and you put the wheat kernels in the center, and it goes down between the 2 stones, and out comes on the side flour. Now, the base of that, let's say, this is just for illustrative purposes, only that base, the large stone, let's call that it's a rubla. Is it part of the ground? Not really. It's built on top of it. That's considered real estate. Okay, so she could grab money from that base. Rent. Now, I had a big problem with this because I'm in the business. Is rent considered real estate or is rent movable objects? It's cash in hand. Tosfos addresses it. He asked the question and he says it's talking about because rent in the time of the Gemara is always paid at the end of the period. So if you rented a house for a year, you pay after a year. So says Tosfos, the guy lived there for a half a year. On the one hand, he owes a half a year rent. but it's only due in a half a year from now. So that's considered real estate. That money is considered real estate. So she grabs from that cash, from that money. Listen to this Maisa, unbelievable story. Rav Anan sent Rav Huna. Huna Charvin Shalom. Chaim Kanievsky, how you doing? Is that how you talk? Huna Chavrin. Rav Huna, Goladar. Huna Chavrin, my friend. When this woman comes to you, so make sure she gets her 10%. Says Gemara, Rav Huna did not like this. Yosef Rav Sheshes Kamei, Rav Sheshes sat in front of Rav Huna, Omarle. Zil Emelei, I want you to say these words to him. And if you don't say these words, I know you're not going to say these words because you're just going to be scared. I'm going to make sure you say these words. I'm going to put you in a chayrim if you don't. You must say these words and tell him like this. Get him back. Call him by his first name. Anan, Anan. He's calling me Huna? He's a Anan, Anan. I want to know, were you asking me about karka or metaltalin? You have to pay the woman from movable objects or from real estate, 10%. Uman Yosef, and also ask him who sits be marzecha bereisha. Who sits in the marzeach? The Gemara is going to explain what that means. Rav Sheshes coming there, so he tells him. Now Rav Sheshes is frightened. He doesn't want to say these words to Rav Anan. Rav Anan is a gadol, but a tremendous person who saw Eliyahu Hanavi and everything. Omerlei, Mar Rabba, you're my master, the great master, which he wasn't, but he called him that to give him that honor and to get his foot in the door so he doesn't get slammed. V'Rav Huna, you should know Rav Huna, Rabbi de Rabba. Rav Huna is the master of all masters. V'Shamuti Shamis Mandaloi Omerlei, and he said, if I don't say these words to you, please forgive me for the words I'm about to tell you, because if I don't, I'm going to be in Chair. V'Lav the Shamis Loi have a Kaimna. I wouldn't say these words to you if not for the threat. And these are the words. Anan, Anan. Uman Yosef emarzecha bereisha. Okay? Now, Baruch Hashem, we just learned about Marukva 2 days ago. All the tzedakah that he gave, and he put the thing on his back, and he gave extra, and when he died, he said, let me give, I don't have, my suitcase is too light, let me give half my nechasim to tzedakah. So now we know Marukva. So he goes to Rav Vukva, and he says, Rav Huna, like, mamash,
here he says, Shachri Ravuna. He would have said Ravuna, he would have been fun.
Shachri Ravuna, look what he said to me. On. This is how he treats me. I don't even know what he's talking about. Omarlei, easy. So a lot of times Rashi says easy means my friend, my beloved. Exactly, say exactly what happened. Tell me the words. I need to know exactly what happened. The guy who was in confession, he went to the priest. He says, I need a mechila kapara because I stole a strap from a horse. So the priest says, so give it back. He says, no. It also had a horse with it. So give the horse back. No, it also had a wagon and 2 kids in it, and I took the kids, threw them into the river. Okay, so you don't say the Maisa, you say, oh, he called me Huna. You're starting from the end. Tell me the whole story. On. No sponsors today. And I'm Yanky Baum, Moshe Horn, Brach the zchus being able to support them in a Torah and to finish learning Shas with the rebellion. This is exactly what happened. You don't even know what the word marzecha is. He got you good. He showed you, you don't know. So you call Rav Huna by his first name, you don't even know marzecha. Okay, but not to embarrass all of us, we don't know what marzecha is either. My marzecha, what is it? Evel. It's somebody that's sitting shiva in avelos. By the way, very interesting, because I'm doing chazar for Avi, so I did my 5 daf yesterday, I did my 5 daf 2 days ago. Baruch Hashem. So in daf ches, interesting. See, when you do chazara, I would have never known this without the chazara. Daf ches talks about all the wine. I don't know if you remember, in the beginning of Kesubos, all the wine that they give out, 10 cups of wine you give out in the Aval's house. And they mamish used to get good drunk. And that's why in Hebrew, today, it's called a bet marzeach. A bar is a bet marzeach. Why bet marzeach? Because there's so much drinking at a beis avelos, it's called beis marzeach. So he says, so who sits in the head? The Marsha explains, it's a good nichum if today also we have the head of the family sits in the head of the table, In those days it's very important who sat where. Omer Avu, Menayin Lo'avel Shemesi Beroish, How do you know that he sits at the head of the table? Shenemar efchadarkam ve'eshev roish ve'eshkoin kemelach bagdud kasher avelim like a oval Yenachem. As the Gemara, that's not a good raya. Yenachem means you're coming to be menachem over somebody else, not the oval himself. Where do you see the oval himself is sitting by the table? Acher mashma or Nachman Yitzchak Yenucham or Yenochem. It depends how you read it here. Akabanim from the word itself. Rashi says, interesting. Rashi want to know if you know diktuk, you don't say a patach unless there's an aleph there. So it's not Yenachem. There's no aleph, so it should really be Yenochem or Yenucham. Fine, that's the way you would read it. Marzudra Mahacha V'sar Mirzach Sruchim. What does that mean? Mar, it's bitter. V'zoch Nasa Sarlis Sruchim. You become the head, so you sit at the head. Omer Ova Hilchasa. Bottom line is, when it comes to a wife, to a daughter, you always take money when you need to feed them for the mezainas, for the parnasa. You take from metaltalin. I'm sorry. Mimkarka v'loy metaltalin. Bein lemezaina, bein leksuva, bein leparnasa. Wow, this is very, very bad. Beis Rishon, make it up to Rosh Hashanah. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.